Is Rich,
He's online.
okay, great.
Paul, how's your wife doing?
He's getting there. I guess the big R.
You still Mr. Nurse?
We're ready.
Good.
We're ready.
Okay.
Mayor Jacobs,
I am here.
Committeeman Hickey,
Here.
Mr. Travellini. Who's muted there?
I'm
See
muted.
you.
I know, but he's driving. Do we really want that kind of
He doesn't have to be on.
Okay, we know you're
I
there.
don't want to see that.
Go.
Mr. Leonard,
Here.
Mr. Deviations, after Ms. Urbana,
Here.
Mr. Rodelius,
Present.
Chairwoman Gutschall.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting of the Bedminster Township Land Use Board was filed with the Township Clerk, sent to the Bernardsville News and the Courier News, and to all subscribers, and posted at the Township Municipal Building, 1 Millen Lane, Bedminster, New Jersey, on June 10th, 2021.
Please stand. Salute the flag. Pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So it's good to have everybody back in their seats. Except for Rich, which I don't know if he's coming in or,
Yeah, he is coming in.
I thought so. Okay, so we have, we'll open it up to the public if there's anything anyone would like to talk about that's not on the agenda. Anybody else online?
There's no public online and only the
Only the applicants.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll close it to the public. Is there any discussion we need for this correspondence, or it's just a matter of us being informed?
the Township of Reddington.
Yeah, you're just being noticed because you're within, budding municipality.
Uh-huh, okay. Okay. Yep, we have, yes, we do. We have our minutes that we need to approve for October 7th. If I hear a motion,
Motion. Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Rich has to abstain, which is
abstain.
good because he wasn't here.
Yeah, right, okay. Okay, the minutes are approved. And we also have a resolution for Crisola. And if we have a motion for that,
So moved. Second.
we need a roll call. Janine?
Mayor Jacobs,
Aye.
Committeeman Hickey,
Aye.
Mr. Travellini was absent, so he's abstaining. Mr. Rodelius,
Aye.
Mr. Leonard,
Aye.
Ms. Urbana,
Aye.
Chairwoman Gutschall.
Aye. And our resolution has passed. Okay, and it's signed. Okay. Is there discussion we want for the plan endorsement self-assessment? Is that something we need to talk about, or?
I don't think so. Maybe Larry has anything, but I don't.
No, we're waiting on a draft from Frank that I believe we're supposed to, might see a draft the end of this week.
Soon.
Soon, and then
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll speak on his behalf from Spain. I know he's working on it and he's hoping to have it out really soon.
So soon is, well, maybe that's on Spanish time.
It's on Spanish time. Come on.
He's already ahead of us. Remember, it's 2:00 already there.
so what you'll be doing is reading it and then making sure that it's acceptable, and then probably in December, setting it for a public hearing and a visioning meeting of at least the land use board to say that this is the municipal self-assessment report of how the board and township assesses our master plan relative to the state plan and the modern things that the state planning people would like to see. One of those is things about a vulnerability assessment for the effects of climate change and flooding issues, which fortunately the county did for the county, for every municipality, including Bedminster, which Frank can incorporate into this
Yes.
report and hopefully bring up things a little bit closer to fruition on at least starting the full plan endorsement at the State Planning Commission. It's a good thing to do because you've already been deemed endorsed. You're one of the few towns in the state that the entire township and the entire master plan has been endorsed previously by the State Planning Commission. So it should arguably be a short-lived to get re-endorsed when the state plan didn't change, but you've stayed pretty much the same. So, but that's bureaucracy for you. So we gotta jump through some hoops. Larry's helped expedite this, so we're trying to probably be aiming for a notice. I think Janine and I were working on something like
December 9th is what we're hoping for.
We're hoping for it, but if we don't make it, we'll do it in January. If we're a little late, the consequence is not great to just keep processing planning. It's going to take the state. I think it's going to take state months to do plan endorsements, maybe even years. But
The way they
Probably
run.
more.
they like people to be in the process, and we're definitely in the process.
Okay. Good, okay. I'll open it up to the board. Board have any comments they would like to make? I'd like to say congratulations
Thank you.
to our mayor
Thank you.
and re-election. So another 3 years of your dedicated time.
Don't remind him.
I know. It's time to quit now. Yeah. But thanks for your service, because I know that's what it is.
Thank you, Chair.
yes.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Anybody else have any comments? No? Good. Okay, I guess we're ready for our hearing. I have one comment I would like to make just before we start. In our planning board, we have Route 206, and I did see that letter that came from Bridgewater requesting that they have a hearing at their Board of Adjustment. I don't know how everybody else feels, but I think it should be heard at Bridgewater first, in case there's any changes or anything to the site plan or comments that we should know on our board. I don't know how everybody else feels about that, but it would seem to me that they should be heard first. I know we can make it conditioned upon that, but feelings?
My initial reaction was, it's really up to the applicant. If they want to go and resolve this with Bridgewater first, that's fine. I mean, I don't know if they have any position one way or the other. I guess it's up to, would we want to hear something that might have some change based upon
Well, that's my thought
what
pattern.
they say? I guess if you're Bridgewater, you might say, well, only come to us when we passed, past.
They might,
Bedminster.
they might.
Yeah, we won't talk too much about this. It won't conclude anything tonight because the hearing is not tonight.
Right, I understand that.
But generally speaking, even if there is a requirement, need to go to another municipality, the applicant is entitled to process an application before the board that they're seeking an approval from and deal with the other governmental approvals as a condition of approval.
Yeah.
So you can't force someone to go get some other approval first.
Okay,
But that being said, they got the letter, presumably the applicant got the letter from Bridgewater, and they should communicate with one another and figure out what they're going to do about it.
okay.
And we don't tell Bridgewater what to do. They
No, of course not, I understand that. They have the right to hear it, I understand that. It is their property and, they gotta do what they gotta do. I just felt that it may, change the site plan.
And if that happened, if it wasn't something that was
Then they'd have to come back to
envisioned in
us.
your application, then it would have to come back for.
Back to us.
Right, sometimes that happens.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay,
But generally speaking, from what I'm told, the driveway from the Bedminster portion of the property is not fully constructed yet and goes to a public street in Bridgewater. So they do need they need to build a driveway, finish a driveway at least in Bridgewater. So and you'll learn more about this during the hearings.
right, okay. All right, very good. So we'll have our hearing. We have James Chesson. So if they'd like to come up and get started.
Just be careful with this. Yeah, I wouldn't leave it on.
Sorry.
Good evening. For the record, Frederick Zelli, designer left on Zelli and Asking Ridge on behalf of the applicant, James Chesson. This is regarding 2360 Larger Cross Road, which is your block 9, lots 3 and 4. We are seeking just one variance this evening. It's a bulk variance for front yard setback. What the applicant is doing is proposing to raise the existing home in order to construct a brand new home, essentially in the same location. The existing home is 162 and change feet off of the front yard, the front line, and we're proposing 168 plus feet instead. So it's a slight improvement, but we're not seeking anything other than that, essentially just to be able to stay where we are. Our engineer will explain the topographical reasons for wanting to do that as the property is laid out. I have two witnesses.
Thanks, Mr. Zelli. I'll swear in the two witnesses. Gentlemen, please raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And gentlemen, please state your names and give us at least a business address and spell your last names.
James Chesson. The address for my house is 2360 Larger Cross Road, technically Gladstone, New Jersey, for mailing address purposes, 07934. Last name again is Chesson, Chesson.
Thank you, Mr. Chesson.
George Folk, David A. Stires Associates, 678 U.S. Highway 202-206, Bridgewater, 08807, Folk, F-O-L-K.
And we'll just confirm for the record that the board recognizes and accepts the qualifications of George Folk as a professional engineer. Please go ahead, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
Thank you.
Start with Mr. Chesson. Mr. Chesson, you reside at the property in question, is that correct?
That's correct.
And with whom?
My wife and 4 children.
And what are the ages and genders of your children?
Boy Jack, first one is 11. My daughter's 9. Her name is Macy. My son is Ryder. He is 7. And then we have a 2-year-old Skylar. And my wife Jamie.
Busy house.
Very busy.
The 2-year-old is who, Skylar?
Skylar.
My understanding that this is a family property, is that correct?
It is. It's my grandfather built the house there that we're looking to demolish, which is its time. It was built, I think, somewhere around the 50s as a cattle farm, and we still do have cattle operating there, and it's fun to have. But I think, from our standpoint, I've been on the road myself about 40 years. I'm only 41, so this place is kind of near and dear to my heart. The whole dirt road thing is a thing for me. So buying this property from my mother and her sister was a big deal. So family still is all very well ingrained. My mom lives down the road. My brother is purchasing a house right down the road from me as well. And we want to make a little bit roomier home for the 4 kids, because it wasn't built for 4. It was built for 2 kids and some parents. So we're looking forward to getting this thing keeping within, I think, the tradition of the area, and then making it look nice and pretty and livable for us to continue our lives.
We'll have Mr. Folk discuss kind of the topographical reasons, but just in your own words, why are we keeping the home where it is instead of further back?
We talked about this, and I think that the issue is we're on a grade or a slope, and if you were to move off that and start pushing it further into, well, you'd be coming close or put it within the pasture anyway, but you're coming down grade, so you have to fill all the way to the house, which would be a pretty large undertaking, to be honest.
Or I go do a lot of excavating to get it down to
Yes, a lot.
Most of the board has gone past the property in anticipation of this evening, and they saw a very large pole barn
Yep.
right up against the road.
Yep.
We submitted proof that was approved by variance some years ago. But do you have any plans for that?
Yeah, well, it is a little bit of an eyesore now, so we would like to, obviously, when there's a nice new house, we would like to renovate the barn and make it look in keeping with the house, and utilize it for the farm equipment stuff, but certainly upgrading it and making it look more presentable, for sure.
And since this is a full demolition, where will you live while the new house is being built?
We're going to attempt to live in the barn that's existing there now, with a special use permit, I think that we have or applied for. It'll be tight, but I think if we, we're a close family. So
We're gonna be closer.
I think it'll work. I think, we'll see. We might be intense also, I don't know.
Stay there.
How about that?
The Township Committee did in fact issue a special use permit on September 28th and signed on the 29th by our client. I can mark that as an exhibit if the board would be so inclined.
Sure, that's fine.
Anyone?
A1. You can just prove it to the board. Thank you, Fred.
Second.
The inevitable question, after you're in the new house, what are we going to do with the apartment?
It's going to be quote unquote man cave-ish sort of thing, a party place for the kids, something small that is just a hangout spot with a TV, nothing.
And you understand that you do not have the legal right to rent out tenants or anything like that, at least not without coming back to the board.
Correct, and I wouldn't want, it's really close to my house anyway, so the tenant would not be an option.
Thank you. I have nothing further for Mr. Chess.
Board, I'll open it up. Any questions for Mr. Chapman? No? Okay. We'll open it to the public, but I don't see anybody, so we'll close that as well. And next witness.
Our next and last witness is Mr. Folk, our engineer. I do have some additional hard copies of the plans, if anyone would like those. I know you received it electronically.
I would like a hard copy. Great, thank you.
Yeah, that one, sure.
We just have a few.
Oh, I don't need it. I'm good. I'm good.
We're good.
So, did your office prepare the plans for this project?
Yes, we have, sir.
You should describe to the board generally the overall type of property it is, some of the features of it, contours and stuff like
It's a property's roughly 10 acres in size. The property to the center line of the road is over 10 acres. We've done all our calculations to a right-of-way that if we get approved, we'll deed that over to the township. The property falls from the road back towards the golf course, and the front of the property along the road, the property is level where the existing house is, the driveway, and then after where the center of the house, it kind of drops off to the back of the property and continues to drop to the back. That's the reason why we located the new house in this middle of the old house to help with grading of the house around it, to minimize as much disturbance as possible to the area and maintain construction conditions that are favorable for the environment. Runoff from the house will be collected in dry wells. The septic system has been designed and approved. The house is on a well. The well will continue to serve the house and the proposed, or the barn renovation. And essentially the cow pasture is to be left intact. And that was one of the things that James wanted to, keep the house right where it is, tear down the old house and put the new house up.
Thank you, Mr. And the one you're putting up now, I see is colored.
Yeah. A2 is the colored rendering.
Just for the record, which of your sheets is A2?
This reflects conditions on sheet 2. For the most part, we have more information on sheet 2, but this is just something that the board can see a little better. The brown is the proposed house. The red outline is what's there today. The lighter tan is a deck off the house, similar to what they have there. This tan over here to the west side of the property along Marsh Cross Road is that metal pole barn we were talking about earlier. And then the barn that he's talking about renovated is to the north of the house.
But what is the current distance from the existing?
To the existing distance from the right-of-way that we would dedicate to the township would be 162 feet, 162.5 feet.
And what is the proposed distance?
168.95, I believe. We'll check
I'm
that.
I'm sorry, George, I put the easel in probably the worst spot possible because all we have on camera is your back in the back of the board, so maybe you can swing that over there by Fred.
I can go in the front.
No,
Sure,
I'm
if you
sorry.
wanna
I'll
just-
just come over here.
Okay, it's a great view. It's all right.
You guys, best side. You can just walk back and forth.
Yeah, right, just keep going.
I'm sorry.
Van White. I'll just hold it. That's okay, I'm sorry. And that's essentially the project. It's very simple. It's a tear down of the existing house. It's, I think, in my opinion, very tired. And to put a new house for Mr. Chesson's family, growing family. I think the property is a well-suited property for the new dwelling. It doesn't affect any zone plans. The proximity of the house to Larger Cross is further away than the houses to the north. There's two houses to the north that are closer to Larger Cross, so I think it's in keeping with the area, and in fact, an improvement to the existing condition.
Are there any other deviations from the zoning ordinance other than what we're seeking the variance for, the location of the barn in front, and the lot size, which obviously as you described is, I don't know, the way you measure it.
Yeah, and to get to Mr. Fiora's comments, all of his calculations were from the dedication of the right-of-way. I can go through his comments right now if you like. But if the board has any questions, you can.
Did we get a letter from Frank on this application too?
Yes.
Yes,
We did?
yes, we do.
How big is the dedication?
Approximately, let's say, pretty big.
It looks pretty big, but I don't see
Yeah.
measurement on the plan, so.
I would say it's probably 25 feet by 618.
So
somewhere in
without
that.
the dedication, if you were measuring to the lot line, you'd be close, right? Like within
Well, yeah.
5 feet of the front yard setback?
I'm sorry?
Am I doing my
Oh,
math wrong?
if we were going to the center
you-
line of the road?
Yeah, if you were measuring to the road
Yeah, you're
instead
right.
of the
Correct,
setback,
yes.
you would
Yep.
be very close.
Yes, that's correct.
The ordinance requires it be measured to the right-of-way line. And one thing maybe to consider is, on an application like this, does the board, the township actually want the right-of-way dedicated, or is it just get measured from that point? I think even if we don't take a dedication of the land as part of the application, it has to be measured there anyway.
And we have done that for this application.
Right.
All our calculations that you see on sheet 1 of 3, the zone table there, is based on a dedication being provided.
Yep.
So, to Mr. Fiora's question, or letter of October 14th, 2021, I'll go to item 1.
You can just do anything you can't live with, anything in the,
Just discuss anything.
any problems?
Oh, okay, sure. Okay. Item 3, there is the breakdown of lot coverage, and the FARs approximately in the middle of that chart.
Okay.
It's in there. Item 4, yes, that chart does go to the proposed dedication of the right-of-way, not to the center line of the road. Item 5, the water supply will be shown as from a well. We will connect it to that barn. We talked about the dwelling unit in the barn itself. And 6 and 7, okay, we will provide.
What I was looking for on the breakdown on the FAR and the lot coverage by structure.
Okay.
I think you just summed it all up,
Okay.
because I just want to make sure we're counting the right
Okay.
things in the right way.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to have a problem. I just want to make sure it's all in the right way.
Yeah, no, everybody's included in that.
I understand that, but the new house is this.
Okay.
The barn is
I can do
this.
that.
Yeah, that's
Okay, no
all I was looking for.
Moving on to Mr. Banish's letter of October 27th, 2021. I think we addressed everything so far up to comments 5. I think we discussed 5.1, 5.2, and 5.3. I concur with all his comments.
Mr. Falk, just focusing a little bit on 5.1 and some of the reasons for this. As an engineer, would you please describe to the board what would have to be done, either by way of excavation and or by way of fill, if the house were placed in a conforming position?
Again, essentially pushing the house back an additional, say, 32 feet, drops it into the edge of this steeper slope, and it will generate a lot of truckloads of material coming into the site. Or if he were to mine material on his property to use for that backfill, it would create a greater extent of land disturbance, and he just wanted to keep the house right where it was, basically tear it down and put it back up, and minimize road issues with a lot of trucks coming in on that gravel road with a lot of dust, or tearing up his property to mine earthwork to backfill around the house.
Is it fair to say that if you were not to use fill, then you would have to do a significant excavation and have a yard going down toward the front of the house?
That's correct, yes.
And you've already touched on this, but just for the record, could you describe what type of road Larger Cross Road is?
I would say it's a country road for horses. It's a gravel drive, slow. The times I've been on it, I don't speed down that road, I get all dusty. But it's a country road, essentially.
And again, gravel, not paved.
Gravel, correct.
Nothing further for Mr. Falk?
Any of the board have anything for the engineer? Cullen, you look like...
Just two quick questions. Comparison of the square footage of the existing house to the proposed house. Do you have that anywhere? Just curious.
Mr. Chester, do you know about that?
5,000 something?
You're talking about footprint?
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
just talking about footprint,
current?
not
yeah,
total.
yeah.
Not total.
Yeah.
Oh, not total, no. So 26 maybe? The footprint? of it?
Yeah. Versus the current.
2,600 square feet-ish, I think.
Versus what?
Versus what, yeah.
Versus 3,300 appears
Yeah.
from, I
So
mean,
we're-
this is the
So the
second.
footprint's smaller. Here's what you're saying.
No, actually, maybe, so it's maybe 20, the footprint is definitely bigger, but I don't know exactly what
Look like it's
the,
that much
Does
bigger.
the board have a copy of these architecturals?
I just can't tell from the comparison. There's different scales.
Here's the architecturals, if you haven't seen it.
Oh, I saw them, yeah.
Can we handle that?
Me too.
Here?
Total livable is 4,100. Main level is 3,382.
Okay.
Does the main level area include the deck though? Deck is 23 by 16, so that's another 400 square feet or so.
I'm not sure what the architect has included in the 3,300 for the main level, whether the porch is there included.
I can tell you that the difference in the floor area ratio is 0.9%.
Okay.
Which, working the arithmetic backwards, is about 3,900 square feet.
Got it.
Difference in floor area. You get the
Total.
2 floors versus what's there now. It's about 3,900 square feet greater under the proposed.
The terrace is broken out as 1,400 square feet. The porch itself is only 592 square feet. I don't know if that's included or not.
Just,
you wanna see
there's a new, proposed new home is a two-story.
Yes.
What is the existing home?
It's an open basement, but both house designs are the same. We're just trying to utilize, instead of going up, we're going to keep it technically a ranch and put 4 bedrooms in what would be the basement of the house. And so we're utilizing every square footage and not having a quote-unquote basement area. So we're trying to make it more efficient, essentially, efficient use of the space.
And because of the slope, that entire basement area is walkout, so there's no safety
Walkout.
issues with somebody sleeping in the basement.
No, it's completely walkout.
So is it going to be a fully furnished basement, except for maybe utility areas?
Yeah, I believe there's 2 call it utility/storage areas, and then the rest of it, there's 2 bedrooms on either side of the house, and that's common area.
Yeah, he's talking about.
Like you said, basement, like you are,
I believe so, 2.
This metal pole barn on the right on the larger cross side,
Yeah.
is that out or in?
It's going to be remaining. That's,
It's supposed to remain?
yes. Yeah,
But
which
that-
we discussed that earlier. It will be renovated to look more in keeping with the newer house, so that it's not this just metal barn sitting there.
And they already got a variance for that to be 76 feet from the...
That's what they're still requesting, yes.
Okay.
No, that variance was.
We don't have those documents.
That variance was previously granted.
We don't have those documents, though.
It was submitted with the application.
we submitted all we could find, which was minutes, we did it over, that's all the township could find.
There's a like 78, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 1970.
I was a young man.
Yes, weren't we all?
Barely.
We checked just before, and forgive me, I don't remember the gentleman's name, which is zoning officer who just retired. He was still here, so he was involved in trying to find the deed, and I know everybody pulled out every stop to try to find it.
Okay.
But they were clear that it was approved.
You've been before the Board of Health for the septic?
Yes, that's done, yep.
Okay.
Anybody else on the board?
One question I have, a couple of small questions on the architecture of the house. The area that's on, off of the lower level, under the deck, is that going to be paved? Do you put some kind of paving in there?
I wouldn't say, it's some sort of,
Like a
either
paver.
pavers or bluestone or something will go under there, sure, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like, the intent is to use that as an outdoor space because of the fireplace, right? Is that what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, an outdoor fireplace? Okay. And then I guess because you're putting the house in the same location, there's going to be little, if any, tree disturbance with this project, right?
I believe very little.
Okay.
Have a lot of ash tree there anyway, and a lot of them are coming down on their own, unfortunately.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah, oh yeah, okay, thank you.
Anyone else on the board? No? Seeing no one? Open it up to the public again? Seeing no one? We'll close that part of it.
Really
So,
very straightforward application, obviously. From our perspective, it really is a C1 variance. It's not your traditional C1, but the fact of the matter is the existing topography is what lends itself to placing the house where it is now. Instead of disturbing the soil with extensive excavation, we're bringing in a lot of fill. So that's our basis. It can certainly be argued on C2 grounds as well, kind of for the same reasons, preserving the existing contours and so forth. And there's no detriment whatsoever. This is where the house essentially has been for all these years without bringing any kind of problems to the years of today.
looks like a wonderful improvement.
Yeah.
That's what we think. Thank you for hearing us. We appreciate it positively.
Tom, I think we're ready for a
Yes,
resolution proposal?
So if the board is ready, it's a motion to approve the C variance for the proposed demolition and building of the new home with the conditions of Paul and Frank's reports and the testimony here tonight. This would be effective immediately, so the applicant would be authorized to proceed effective immediately, provided all other provisions of compliance are met. Is there such a motion?
I'll move it.
Second?
Roll call, Janine?
Mayor Jacob?
Aye.
Committee Man Hickey?
Aye.
Mr. Travellini?
Aye.
Mr. Rodelius?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Ms. Orabana?
Aye.
Chairwoman Gotcha.
Aye.
Very much.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Good
Good luck
luck
with
to
your
you.
project.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
How many cattle do you have? It varies, between 4 and 6 throughout the summer.
You can just
Come and
leave
go.
it. Yeah.
Mostly black Angus, but that's it. The kids love watching them run around the field. It's a thing for them, they love it. Thanks. Thank you very much again, appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Where's her schedule here? Oh, where are we? So there is a schedule here for our upcoming events. I had it here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Okay. So next week, we have KRE, that we're hearing. And then in December, we hope to hear Route 206. And we have the shopping center at, what was they called, Somerset Hills.
Yeah, it's a fresh market.
And then January, we'll be into reorg again. Goes quick. So anyway, we've got full schedules, and hopefully we'll get some of these applications that we've had now for a while, get them going.
There are a couple that have been lingering.
Yes.
Are we gonna let them linger, or are we gonna make them?
Well,
I mean, like, one of them's been on here for 18 months, right?
well, we
Certainly
have,
a
I
year.
mean, we're, if they ask for,
We
extensions or
we have required,
postponements.
we have informed one of them that they have to make some changes to get, if they would like to be proceeding without a D variance. So plan revisions are needed to do that, and my understanding is they are doing plan revisions to eliminate what is apparent D variance. So I would keep it on your applications. It doesn't really matter. They've extended the time frame for action appropriately, and it's a good thing to do that.
Everybody
What's
else
the
will be
benefit for us to
sort
keep
of
it
moving
on?
along.
Is there any
There's no requirement, but the consequence is that if you don't, they have to file a new application and get new reports. It would be redundant, so.
Is there anything,
The only change that's going to take place, I don't know, we don't know what changes they decide to make, but the major change that is, I think, being made is that the heliport will not be located within 200 feet of the road. And by doing that, it would not be a D variance. If it's located within 200 feet of a road, I think that's one of the conditions of the conditional use for heliports or helistops, I think it's helistops. So.
did the
that-
new stormwater regs affect this application? I mean, this was applied.
They were
They were
complete
submitted in
before those
July
rules
2020.
changed. They were complete before that rule changed,
Okay,
so they're not subject to the new stormwater requirements.
but this has been kicking around without
And-
any activity.
And that's an interesting question, and I think ultimately it'll shake out with what they come back with as far as their revised application is concerned, because I've heard 4 or 5 different options that they're coming back with. Some of them are almost no changes to what's out there now, some of them are significant changes.
I don't know. I'm glad Anna asked that, because I was gonna ask the same thing. I mean,
You don't have.
no action at all. At what point is it, just resubmit? Are the application fees that expensive for this?
Yes,
They are?
yes.
Oh, How much?
I don't remember.
Okay.
It's based on the square footage of the structures. And if they have all the structures that they had out there before, it's pretty significant.
Oh, this is the entire, so it's not
It's
just the
all
helipad, it's
the big
that
cottages.
hotel-ish
Ish.
structure.
Yes.
Cottages.
Is there some, I mean,
The benefit of keeping it going is the cooperation that you have received from the applicants to the applicant's professionals, which was appropriate.
Okay. Unless there's something else? No? Did you hear it?
I couldn't really hear, what was this, is this Reddington or Bridgewater that is asking?
That's Reddington.
There's
That's,
another one that we have to cooperate with Bridgewater on?
well,
all this cooperation.
yeah, it's too much cooperation. No, Bridgewater, we did get a letter from them that they want to hear the roadway in their application in the zoning board.
For the.
For
Alfieri?
206,
the
for
Alfieri?
Alfieri,
For the
right,
Alfieri?
correctly, yes. And my question was, should we have them hear it at Bridgewater first in case there's a change in site plan or something? But the answer is no, they do what they want to do. So we'll just let them handle it, and if there's changes, we'll come back to us and we'll change
This is a
it.
separate one for Reddington?
Totally
This is a notice of a public hearing in Reading.
in Reddington.
Cemetery.
Or mausoleum or something.
We're just being noticed.
Properties in 200 feet of a municipality
Yeah, that
have to
would-
give notice to the municipality within 200 feet and to a separate list of the property owners within 200 feet in that municipality, separate from the one in their own.
Sorry for
municipality.
making you repeat it.
No, that's okay. That's all right. That's okay. That's fine. So do we hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
All in
All in favor?
Yay.
43 minutes.
Pretty good.
Just 21 and a half.